I need language to figure out what I'm thinking.
Yes.
To paint my pictures in my head. So what it could look like when we tolerate versus when we're trusting. You already mentioned a few of these for tolerating. The constantly checking the timeline, the subtle comparison, doing the right things but feeling stuck. I've definitely done that. Replaying thoughts, trying to figure it out.
No, I've never. Just earlier today before we hit record, I was doing that.
Feeling unsettled when nothing is even really wrong. What? Me? No, never.
Please just hold your breath. Every door looks better when you keep it closed. Keep your head down and don't watch your step. No point in even trying, now just let it go. Maybe they will write the same for me. Maybe this was really just a dream. Don't wanna take that risk and try to see a 9 to 5 open security. I'm sure, but I can guarantee you that's no way to live. Way to live. Promise that's no way to live. Way to live.
Hi, friends.
Hello.
Welcome back to another episode of Prodigal Peas in a Pod. I'm Denise Acosta.
And I'm Brooke Ackerman.
And we are so excited to have another time with you, another episode, another hour.
Another conversation.
I like that better. What is it that we do here? We have conversations.
Yeah, sure. And cackle.
Yes, lots of cackling. Today, I want us to talk about trusting God's timing versus tolerating it.
No.
Yeah. I
Don't
know.
want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's uncomfortable.
That's why I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I have no real life experience about this topic
None
at all.
whatsoever. I had to Google some examples to share with everyone, actually, too. So
I had to Google some examples.
because I was really like sitting with this, right? We can say we trust God's timing left and right, but
No, we don't.
right.
No, we don't.
We can say it all we want, but sometimes we're literally tolerating it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we don't really have a choice sometimes because it's just every time. but,
Yeah.
But those are two different perspectives and postures to have in our waiting game. And I think one of the most common reasons is we don't trust it because we want it to look a certain way. And when God doesn't do it that way, we get frustrated or upset. But I think for me, it's not even that, because whether it happens today or in 5 years, for the most part, for a lot of things, like that isn't what bugs me. It's the not knowing. It's having no idea to like grasp onto something, I think is what it is. So that's the part that gets me. And so then I'll just be like, what are we doing?
Yeah, because I feel like if I had some idea of what was happening or when it was going to happen, then I would feel better. But I don't think that's actually true. I think it's something that I believe, but the information itself is not actually going to make me feel better.
To be fair, like I think God would have a better time dealing with me if he gave me a little bit more information. I'd be much more pleasant.
So you think you're going to annoy him into giving you information
No,
like
I'm
a
just
toddler?
saying-
You can tell me now? Will you tell me now? Can you tell me now?
He could have a better time if he wanted to.
I don't think he's having a difficult time.
That's true. He's probably just laughing about it.
Yeah, I think you're
Look at her
having it.
squirm. Look
I
at her
think you're
squirm.
having a difficult time. He's fine.
Yeah, probably. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, trusting, tolerating. I think I am in the tolerating chair way more than I think I am. I want to be trusting him. I want to be there. But that's not the same thing as actually being there.
And then it's what specifically? Because do I trust him in the grand scheme of things of my life and that it's going to all work out very good and a great ending? Sure. But in this one very specific thing that we're at right now, I'm like,
Yes. Yeah, maybe I should just take care of this one, God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Same.
So then I'm like, okay, what does trusting look like? Because it's not always going to be like, yay, God. And there are some people that are super trusting and they have that sense of peace right away. And it's, if I don't get this, then it wasn't from you, God, and I don't want it. And look, like for the most part, I would love to always believe that and embrace that, but I don't always. All right. Let's just be real. And there are some people that do, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
And like, good for them. I'm not there.
No.
So they can, if that's you, can skip over this episode because obviously you have nothing to learn unless you want to learn how to deal with people like us.
Or share with us how you got there, because we're not there.
So the whole thing with mom and with her health issues, and it's out of my hands. It's out of everyone's hands, really. The first few weeks, I was super emotional. So I'm like roller coaster. I'm like crying, and then I'm laughing, and then I'm crying, and then I'm laughing. And then I think I'm on like maybe week and a half, almost 2 weeks of emotional stability, which is great. Yay for me, guys. But it goes to the same thing, trusting God's timing, right? Versus tolerating it. And I felt like for the first few weeks, I would have said that I was trusting and I really didn't have a choice. And I trust, again, in the grand scheme of things, like even worst case scenario, he's going to take care of me. Sure. I trust that. I believe that and I'm grateful for it. But the way I was feeling and walking that out was definitely more tolerating it. I certainly was not excited about it. Still not excited about it.
Yeah.
But now I've also come to the part where I'm not frustrated anymore. The emotional stability is real, and I am really grateful for it as far as this specific thing is concerned, at least. So I do, to some degree, feel that sense of peace and calmness. Now, it could be because I've exhausted myself emotionally and I have nothing else to give, or it could just be that we're just good. Like, we had a good prayer sesh, and that was the shifting point for me in this specific situation, where I just felt like we were like we hugged it out. That's what I feel like. We hugged it out.
You and God hugged it out?
Yeah.
Nice.
We hugged it out.
I like it.
And so now we're good. But I definitely feel like most times we're tolerating more than we're trusting. And then how do you just get to that?
I don't know.
You don't have an answer for me?
No, because I'm right there with you. So recently we bought chicks from southern states. We have 4 little chickies. And
the little ones that have the black ones, they're so cute.
Yeah, they're getting really big now. They're not as fluffy. They have actual real feathers now. They definitely go through like the awkward teenager phase. It's really funny.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, they're not teenagers yet, but I'm telling you, every one of God's creatures goes through what happened. I used to be little and cute.
Is this their middle school years?
I think it's more like upper elementary right now.
Okay.
So they're still cute, but it's, you've lost your little baby fat. More like that. Yeah. So the store tells you when they're coming. They put it on Facebook, and they tell you when, because it's really funny. They come through the post office. They're shipped to the store. Yes. And so they'll put on Facebook heading to the post office. And so then, within a few minutes, they'll come from the post office to the store. They'll get them organized and you can buy them. The day that these particular chicks were coming, I refreshed Facebook like it was my job. It was really ridiculous. And I knew it. I was saying to myself, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? They're going to arrive. But I was so excited and I wanted them so badly. And so I just kept, and it took some days, some shipments come in and it's 9 or 10 in the morning. One shipment was not when we were getting chicks, was like 4 p.m. And I was like, oh no, please don't let it be a 4 p.m. one. It's 1 o'clock. They still haven't said heading to the post office. I call the store. And I'm like, hey, just wondering if you have a ballpark idea. They're like, no, sorry. And I was like, yeah, I figured, but I thought I'll ask anyway. And so, yeah, I was not trusting at all. I needed the information.
Yeah.
I needed to know because that was going to make me feel better. No, it didn't. And so then finally, hey, they're here. I ran right over to that store and there were a gazillion chicks. It wasn't like they were going to run out. It wasn't like I wasn't going to get them. But so yeah, that's what I thought of when I saw the notes for our episode today. I was like me the other day, stalking southern states on Facebook because I needed my 4 chicks.
I love that.
Yeah.
Little chickies are so cute.
But then there's, just to stay on this example of ordering things or buying things, I ordered something recently online. I really don't know when it's coming. And I'm fine with that. I'm not checking updates. I haven't looked at it again. Honestly, this was the first time I think I've thought about that item in 2 days. So there are times where I'm like, yeah, no problem. It's totally fine. And then there are times where I'm like, are my chicks here yet? Did you go to the post office yet? It's ridiculous.
I think it's definitely something that we want more. It's going to be harder
Yes.
to wait.
For sure.
For sure.
Chicks are well loved.
No, they are. You guys are so cute. Do you post it on your Blueprint page, the videos?
No.
Oh, maybe you should. Go check out the Blueprint page, you guys. See what these little chickies look like. They're so cute.
I know,
So
they're
good
so
get to
little.
see them.
They're adorable.
All right, so because I need like language to figure out what I'm thinking,
Yes.
to paint my pictures in my head, I did get a little small list together of what it could look like when we tolerate versus when we're trusting. So I'll read some of those out. And you already mentioned a few of these for tolerating. The constantly checking the timeline, the subtle comparison, doing the right things but feeling stuck. I've definitely done that. Replaying thoughts, trying to figure it out.
No, I've never. Just earlier today before we hit record, I was doing that.
Feeling unsettled when nothing is even really wrong. What? Me? No, never. And then trusting, like you're still wanting it, but you're not obsessing over it. And I feel like that's the whole holding something with an open palm.
Yeah.
Letting a day pass without needing an update. Being present instead of mentally ahead. Not needing to solve it constantly. Yeah, those are the ones that I have. The being present instead of mentally ahead, that's definitely something I do. Not on the trusting side. On the definitely like I'm trying to be mentally ahead rather than being present most times. But yeah, I don't know. It helps when I have stuff like this, it helps me put things into perspective. It also helps me identify. Because like we were saying before, like if you're in the middle of something, it's hard to pick out different things. You're just feeling things, a lot of feeling. And maybe not so much analyzing. So anyway, I relate into quite a few of these.
Yeah, and when I was hyper focused on when are my chicks coming, I could feel like inside it was like on fast forward. And it was almost like I was holding my breath or clenching my fist. I wasn't literally, but it like that feeling that I had. And this other, like waiting for this other thing to arrive when I don't even know when it's coming. It's, I can breathe. There's no tension. It's just interesting how there's physical feelings in your body associated with the mental and emotional things as well, which that's really helpful for me to start to identify things, is I can tell when that it feels like something internally is on fast forward. That one is a really good indicator for me of what's going on. What are you doing? What's happening? So those things just, I don't know, those are helpful for me to start to go, oh, you're not in a place of trust right now. Have a conversation with God.
And then a week from now, we're right back.
No.
Right back to doing the same thing.
No.
Oh, yay. Here's one question. Why do we interpret waiting as something that's wrong?
Because I think we're still very much like toddlers. Like, I want it right now.
And if we're not getting it right now, it's because...
Like, I must have done something wrong.
Yeah.
Like punishment. It's a consequence. And I don't think that's a conscious thought.
Yeah. Is it because when we would get rewarded when we would do some things correctly? Maybe that's why. And so because there's a delay.
Could be.
Yeah.
And not everybody had that growing up
Right.
experience, but I think that's probably a big part of it for me. And I know you and I had somewhat similar things like that. But yeah, I can't tell you how many times in conversations with God that I have asked pretty much that exact question. Am I doing something wrong? Is the delay on this thing that I feel like you've said is coming down the road? Like, how much further down the road? Do I need to do something to make it come sooner? Do I need to stop doing something? And it's all very self-focused. But that, when we're in pain, and so it's not that it's necessarily excruciating pain, but when we're waiting for something, it's a longing for, it's a desire that has not yet been fulfilled. And so there is pain there. But when we're in pain, our lens, that's it. That's all we see, is how this is affecting me. And what do I need to do to change it? Can I do something to change it? I'll do anything to change it, but it becomes very self-focused. And everything that's happening, we filter through, how is it going to affect me? Is it going to hurt me more? Is it going to make this pain go away? That's all we can see. I think that has something to do with I must be doing something wrong if I'm in a place of waiting.
One of the other thoughts that came to mind as you were sharing a few of yours is, did you already ask me to do something and I haven't done it yet? And then I'm like, let's go back to that.
But the thing is that there is a piece of truth in that. And so that's where we get tripped up too, is that God is not going to give you step 3 if you haven't done step 2, and not in a formulaic, not in a punishing, but there is a way things work in his kingdom. And so there's enough truth in that so that when the enemy comes at you with a lie, then we're all turned around, because part of that is true, but that's not the whole thing, but we turn it into the whole thing.
It's not the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
So help me God. Yeah. But the whole waiting feeling like punishment or a consequence that was a very tough journey for me, like in a very long struggle in allowing God access to that place in me and letting him change my perspective. And I'm not kidding, like 10 years of being very angry and very frustrated and sad and apathetic and you name it. I went through it in that time because I couldn't make sense of it. And I thought if I just had the knowledge, I would feel better. I don't think that's true.
Yeah. Sometimes I think if I had the knowledge, I'd feel better about things. But sometimes I kind of do, but but no, not as a general statement. But that space, because there's so much unknown, there's a lack of clarity. And I don't think it's just me, but I really love consistency.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine for some things to be
right.
Surprising, depending on what it is, you guys.
Like, surprise, here's an extra $1,000 in your bank account that you didn't have to do anything for. Great.
Yes. And the IRS won't be taxing it.
These are my receiving hands, Lord. But yeah, that's not usually how that goes.
Yeah. And so the longer I go with something that is unclear, it feels unstable. And so that's when I wouldn't say out loud that I don't trust God with it. But
that's what that is.
But that's what that is. Yeah.
I know. And sometimes I think if I can return back to being more childlike, and I know John Ackerman right now is going, that's almost nearly impossible. Today he told me that I'm now a 7-year-old. Before I was 5 for the longest time. But I'm apparently maturing. And I said, as long as I'm not getting so old that I have a lot of chores to do. But I think when you're a kid, you are way more trusting. And I think that's partially because you've not had enough life experiences to get jaded or just question so many things. But I don't know. An example I often think of about my relationship with God is when I was a little kid and my parents said, hey, let's go wherever. I didn't worry about, is there enough gasoline in the car? Do we know how to get there? Do we have enough money to do the thing when we arrive? Like, I just hopped in the car and was along for the ride and knew we would get there. It'd be something interesting and fun on the other side. The car ride itself was fun. Like, I was just having a great time.
Just vibing.
Right. And so why can't I be like that with God in whatever the stage of life is with him? Why am I worrying about, is there enough fuel in the car? Do we know where we're going? Why can't I just, great. And not in a abdicating, I'm not at all paying attention or aware of what's going on in my life, but I also don't have to have a white knuckle grip on every detail of how my life is going.
We know too much now. It's like Solomon was talking about, having too much knowledge. Now look at us stressing about these things.
But again, that's not because...
I've seen Ecclesiastes, you guys, in your Bible.
And there's a reason why the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was, hey, don't eat that fruit.
Yeah.
God actually did have real purpose there. Yeah. Because now we think knowledge will fix it. If I just know, if I have the information, if I know what's coming. No, that's not solving anybody's problems. No. It's actually creating a whole lot of problems.
Yeah.
Ignorance really is bliss.
Right? That's too bad. If somebody wants to adopt me, I am available. So I don't have to keep worrying about these things. And I can go back to trusting God.
Is that how that works? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Be surrendering in the waiting.
I don't think that's what surrender really is.
Oh, no? Oh.
We might need to look that up just to be sure.
I don't know that I say or think, is God holding out on me?
Ugh, I definitely did.
I think I feel that way.
Okay.
Based on the way I respond, I feel like there is truth to that belief. I don't think I've ever verbalized that. I think I've danced with it. I think so.
I think I've danced with it.
Yeah, instead of like full on commitment and grabbing on.
Like middle school dance?
Yeah. At least, yeah. That's really awkward. I'm thinking like still just a dance, like not fully there, not fully close, but you're still having a good time. It's not awkward.
If you say so. It's not awkward.
Everything about middle school is awkward.
True.
Hey, Brooke.
I could tell by the intake of breath that something was coming that you were expecting me to have an answer for.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What is it?
How do you think this affects your relationship with God? Or how has it?
Oh, my goodness.
Since this is something that we deal with.
This was a hard one. It really revealed how transactional my relationship was with him, and I didn't know it. I thought I was far more connected and trusting, and when I didn't get the thing that I wanted, when I thought it should come, it didn't start off with me really being like a toddler and throwing a tantrum and being very demanding. It started with, what am I doing wrong? And it was well-intentioned. So if I'm doing something wrong, God, then show me so I can do the right thing. Mm. But what I didn't see in that was that if I push all the right buttons, then I'll get the candy bar. If I enter the code correctly, then the ATM will give. It was if I do the right thing, then I will get from you what I want, when what I need is connection with him. And then it got to a point where I would say, I want to want what you have for me, even though I wasn't there. And that helped for a little bit. And then more time went on, and then I just got angry. And I don't even know if it didn't stop at just anger. It definitely got into a bit of rage. I wanted to not be around me. And so I don't know how other people were around me. And all the people who I was around were very kind, and after the fact said, it's not as bad as you think it was. Yeah, you were angry. We understood, but it was really not okay. And a lot of that anger was directed at God. And I've told people, I said things to him that you don't say to somebody that you love. You don't talk that way to somebody that you actually care about and value and want to stay in a relationship with. And thankfully, he is so patient and so kind, because I'm like, he could just smite me right there for that one comment. I don't know if I would have blamed him, because it was not okay. And so there was a lot of, the way that I felt was that I did damage to my relationship with God. He was fine. He's big enough to handle it. He didn't go anywhere. He was right there the whole time. You know what I mean? I didn't actually damage it, but it really stripped away a lot of the transactional part. And is there still a transactional view that I have? Yes. That's going to be an ongoing thing. But it was way bigger and more profound than I ever knew, until I had to just wait for whatever he said was the right time and the right thing. And I don't want to trade what came out of it in my connection with him, but it was a rough road for a real long time. And I didn't like it, and I don't want to do it again.
It sounds like you spent some time reflecting.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that's something everyone does. Reflecting is so valuable, and I think you'd agree. For me, it helps to do exactly what you just said, identifying like what ends up happening, what you ended up actually believing, or what was different than what you originally thought. And then that's helpful. I love information. So now I have more information, and then I can heal from that, or whatever, address that, however that needs to be dealt with. Yeah. I would agree that it definitely impacts our relationship.
Yeah, there were stretches where I don't want to talk to you, God. And I would tell him, I know that's the best answer. I know that's the best thing for me right now, but I'm so mad at you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to come close. And one of the amazing things about him is he let me do that, knowing that I was only hurting me. And not that he doesn't feel hurt by how we treat him. I wasn't damaging him. I was damaging me. I would tell people during that time, sometimes it felt like somebody was taking razor blades to my heart. What I didn't realize is that I was doing it too, to myself, by distancing myself from the only one who could actually help me. And I was like, no, I don't want to talk to you. But I still did all the things that he was asking me to do, for the ways that he's wired me to operate, and the things that he's asking me to offer to other people. I did them, and I trust him because he wanted me to care for other people, that he was still working through me. But anything that I was doing that was kind and caring toward others, I couldn't turn it back to myself, because no, I don't want any part of you right now, God. And he was just like, okay, I'll wait here until you're ready. Man.
There's two things that I thought of as you were talking, and not directly related, and hope I don't forget the first one. But there's something I heard recently, or sometime this year, because I'm really bad with telling time. I could say the other day, and that could mean anything from the day I was born to yesterday.
Yep.
So
Same. Yep.
At some point in my life, I heard about how spiritual gifts, they're not for us, they're for other people. And do you ever notice how even when you're having like a meltdown of something with God, if somebody calls you needing something, you're able to produce that in good quality. And that's why, because the fruit is not for the tree. The fruit is for the one passing by to grab it. And I've always found that to be interesting. And the other thing I was going to say, yeah, I remembered.
Woohoo!
I like the way you worded it about how transactional it really was versus like how maybe hoping that it wasn't, or your level of closeness for what you thought it was versus what it actually was. This really brought it to light. To have language for that is really valuable for me. I would definitely agree that for sure those are the things that I notice. Like even just the small things like the prayers, right? They get shorter. It's more like a checking in kind of a thing. And I had a time where I was really mad at God about something, and it was the elephant in the room. And I was praying about it. And I was so mad at him because like life was going so well. I'm walking on sunshine. I'm getting my life together with Jesus and like we're healing. And then he throws me this curveball. I was so mad at him for it. And I remember like praying, and I remember it would be like at night, and I'm like praying for my friends, and I'm going to pray for this and then that. And then I could feel like I could hear him like, hey, do you want to talk about this? And I'd be like, nope. Go to sleep. Next morning, wake up. Okay, God, let's do this day together. And hey, do you want to talk about this? Nope. I just went on like that for a while. And so the effects are there, and we've since hugged it out, and we've talked about it. And obviously there were things that needed to be addressed there, and they were, and we're like a couple years out from that now. And that's great. And thanks God for sticking with me and not smiting me. But also it's the distance that creeps in that you don't really notice right away. And so going back to that conversation about like mom stuff in that prayer session, I would not have said that I felt like I was distant from God during my very emotional first couple weeks, however long that was. I felt like he was there, and I was talking to him through it. But until we had that session where, like I said, him and I hugged it out, that's when I was like, oh no, there was. And I wouldn't be able to articulate. I still can't really articulate it. Yeah. But it was. And so, yeah, it does.
We blame him for a lot of things that are not at all his. But we're uncomfortable, we're sad, we're angry, we're afraid. And so we don't know what else to do. And so you could change this. So why aren't you? And so now I'm mad at you.
Yeah.
When we don't see as clearly as we think we do. Not even close. Man, that's another thing that he just keeps revealing.
I wear contacts.
I don't. And I have great vision, but not as good as I think it is.
Even with help, I don't.
Well, and that's one of the things that he reminds me of. And he just reminded me the other day. He's like, none of you sees as clearly as you think you do. And it's not harsh. It's not condemning. It's just, hey, remember this thing that you think is, you got it all locked up. No, you don't. And that's okay. Let me talk to you about it. Right. Okay. Yeah.
What I've tried to start telling myself is, all right, Denise, if you were somebody else, what would you advise? but that's like a newer thing. That's like a newer step towards being more healthy. So before, God would place somebody in my life going through something similar, and I don't realize it right away. And I'm having this conversation and like walking through what this looks like through faith. And then when I get home later, I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, we do the same thing. Okay. All right.
So that was good advice for everyone. Oh, okay.
So it would have to be that God would have to always send someone for that to eventually click. And so now I think about like the advice to get forward, but yeah. He must have a ball with us.
I think he does. I think we think he's annoyed with us often. I don't think that's true at all, ever.
We're just all so different. I think he like is actually fascinated. I think we might be annoyed with each other. I think he's like, wow, these humans came up with this whole new trait. And the rest of the people hate it.
It's like he's sitting there with his popcorn. Let's see what happens next. As if he doesn't know.
Oh, man. The other one is what I have here. Less presence, more problem solving. I think for sure I jump into that mode real quick because there is always that one same lie that's like, you missed something. So go back and find it and fix it. And then we're good. And then we're all back paired together. And all right, God, what's next? And it's, no. Relax. Talking at God instead of being with him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you have the logistical conversations with somebody in your life, but there's no actual, so how are you doing? What's going on? It's just, we need to do this. We need to go there. I would do those things with God. What's the next thing that I need to do for someone else? But no, I'm not just hanging out with you, God. No, I'm mad at you. Leave me alone. Oh my gosh. Such a little brat sometimes. And I don't mean that like very critically, like that's not okay. Like I'm saying for myself, that was not an okay way to treat him. But he and I've talked about that. I had to forgive me for the way I handled things, and I have.
Forgiving yourself.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy that feels harder to do. It's easier to accept God forgiving us than us forgiving ourselves. That's still crazy to me.
Okay, so when you said that, this made me think of something that John saw on social media and then told me, and he and I both were like, oh. Like you just have to, sometimes those really smart people say those things, and you're just like, I gotta take a minute because that's not just good information. That's landing in a, okay.
Love smart people.
Yeah, and this is Tim Keller, so yeah, just pearls of wisdom constantly from this man. So he says, when people say, I know God forgives me, but I can't forgive myself, they mean that they have failed an idol whose approval is more important than God's.
Ooh.
I know. Like, I didn't think about it like that I've made myself and my approval an idol, and anything that's an idol we place above God, but I made it myself.
Send that to me.
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
I have that ready in my phone.
Yep.
Also, what comes with the not trusting is how our time with God then becomes like unsettling. Like it's no longer that safe, happy. It feels restless.
Yeah, it's not a place of safety and comfort anymore.
Yeah. And I really prefer
Oh, yes.
when I'm hugging it out with God.
Yes.
Like, even when I lost my great uncle and just like actually feeling I could go to him and cry about it, it was good. I much rather that than when all this creeps in and it creates that distance and that, the mistrusting and. Oh, like it.
No.
All right. Ooh.
I love when you're impressed by your own outline.
That's a good one.
It's a good one, Denise.
So there was the whole tolerating feels like waiting with tension. Trust feels like waiting with surrender. And so what does that mean? I was like, what does surrender look like here? What does that even mean? Because I don't think it's always peaceful. I think it can be. I know that I have had moments where I have surrendered things and I do feel good about it. I feel at peace with whatever decision or lack thereof. And there is that sense of tranquility. But I think that's not all of what surrender means. I feel like there's more.
There's more and you're not sure what it is?
No, I don't know what all of it is. No, but
yeah, I don't know if anybody does.
Right. But it was helpful to, I guess, consider the other ways of what that can look like. One of the ways, or one thing that a friend had said this week also was, sometimes worshiping looks like, even though you're going through something really hard that doesn't make sense, and you're still choosing God in that, is still worshiping. And I'm like, oh, it's an interesting like because we're talking about worship.
Yeah.
And how it can look very different versus just the like singing at church, which is also worship.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so same with surrender. I think I've always thought about it to look like that. Okay, cool. Like we've let go of either some desire. And so now it's, if it happens, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. And you're good. But not always.
I think the key word that you said there was choosing. You know, it's choosing God. And I think sometimes we think surrender is, it's just going to happen and we're just going to feel better and we're going to feel okay, when really it's, I'm choosing to take this thing that I really care about, and really, if it's something I'm waiting for, it's something that I really want to eventually be a part of my life. And rather than it being like right here in my face all the time, and that's what I'm looking at the rest of life through, I'm choosing to hand this to you, God, because it's a gift from you in the first place, and I can only do so much with it if I hold on to it. But if I put it back in your hands where it actually came from anyway, the things that you can do with it are going to be amazing. Whereas, yeah, I can do some pretty cool stuff, but I'm nowhere near going to be able to do what he can do. And so it's really more about our choice, because I can hold on to it and I can insist and I can demand, or I can hand it to you and trust you that you are doing. It's not that he's sitting there waiting. He's already in motion. He's doing things, even though I don't see it or recognize it or understand it. And so I think it's more, I can choose how I'm going to look at it. I can choose the emotions that I will allow to be present, because I think we're far more passive about our own thoughts and emotions than we need to be. We have authority over them. They are not running us, but we let them run us.
Yeah.
And so I think it has way more to do with choice than we think it does.
Choose God.
But I remember somebody one time talking about surrender and saying how when like movies or how it's depicted is when you surrender, you put your hands up. And it's, I'm unarmed, I'm not going to try anything. It's, I'm showing you, I'm not trying to be in control. I don't have anything in my hands. I'm not, do you know what I mean? So it's like this idea of hands off in the sense of, I'm not going to try to run this situation. And so I'm choosing to let you do it, God. And that's, we can do that, and then we'll go right back to, okay, no, never mind, I'll take it. Let me do it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's also something we think that
only for a little bit.
Right. You can play with it for 5 minutes, and then I want my joy back. But it's, we think that once, if I surrender, then it should be, I should be done, and that's a forever thing. And that's honestly rarely how it goes. We often want to pick it back up and be in control of it again. And so it's just, it's a continual, oh, okay, God, I picked it back up again. Here, I'm going to give it back to you again. And he's okay with that. He's patient. He understands. But I think if we pay attention to how we feel and the way our thoughts are going, that when we actually let him have it for that, whatever the length of time is, we actually feel a whole lot better about it than when we're trying to hold on to it and figure out what to do with whatever it is that we're not surrendering.
It's like asking God for the tracking number.
Yes. Because I need the information, and if I know when things are going to happen, then I'll feel better.
Yeah. So I guess not doing that is a way to surrender.
Yeah.
Stop asking for a tracking number. Just trust.
Yeah, but when you're in the thick of it, just surrender, just trust. That's not not helpful when people say that. I know that. I'm not getting there.
When it's phrased like small steps, I feel like it's easier for me to get there. Mm-hmm. It's like the whole, you're so anxious. Well, the Bible says don't be anxious. And it's like right away, it's like, oh my gosh, like, why didn't I think of that? And yes, you can go far more in depth than that. Yeah. So we're not going to go into that today. But same thing. So if we're looking for a short one, maybe just the not asking for the track number, the not grasping for answers is a step there.
Yes. So I think we've not exhausted all of the ways that we or we're waiting and not enjoying it. But we've said quite a few examples. So have there been times where you felt a little more peaceful while waiting?
Yeah, for sure. There's times when it's a lot easier to be like, God, this is in your hands and you got it. And I may not even check back about it. And I may actually just have forgotten about it, whatever. And then there are the times when I'm consistently going back. And I think it's the same reason for something we talked about in the last episode, where it's, if there's something I feel like is at a higher stake or something that I desire far more because I feel like I don't have a lot of strong desires. So when one does come up, then I'm like, hey, I didn't even ask for much, but here's one. And I need it to be a certain way. And so I feel like for me, at least for right now that I can think of, that would be the difference in those moments. If it's somebody else, obviously, that's way easy. Like, I know God's got you, and he's definitely going to work that out for you in your life. That job situation, don't even worry about it, because you're going to have an even better one in 2 weeks. Claim it. But if it's like me, then I'm like, what? Now I'm like thinking about all the different things. Plus I'm an overthinker, and we go into this whole thing about it. And then I have no choice but to tolerate.
So it feels more peaceful when it's not your waiting, but you can feel peaceful while you're helping somebody in their waiting.
Yeah. Okay. And even some things in my life, sure. But the times that it's usually with things that I've held with an open hand, for sure. But the ones that I have strong desires and I'm like, no. Yeah, for sure. Those are a lot harder. I don't know. What is your differences?
Honestly, just there's one situation that's coming to mind that the peace that I felt in the middle of it was undeniable, but did not make any sense. And that was my first time of actually experiencing that, like the peace that passes all understanding. I'd heard that scripture before, but I was like, okay, that sounds wonderful, but I didn't have context for it. But it was when I was going through a divorce, and everything that I thought was real and good in my life, it felt like a building just crumbled, and there was just back down to foundation, back down to ground level. And I remember feeling so taken care of by God and so loved. And that made no sense because everything was crumbling, everything. And there was just this undercurrent of, I don't have to figure out all the details. And I think it was partially because there was really no way. It was very obvious to me that there was no way that I was going to fix everything, handle everything. It's almost like I had no other choice, but I did because I could have chosen to hold on to things. But it felt very much like I still have decisions to make and I still have to do things. But the way I describe it all the time is that it felt like an undercurrent of everything's going to be okay. It's going to take a little bit. And it was hard, and I was very sad and very angry, and it wasn't like a walk in the park the whole time, but there was always this feeling of peace. It doesn't feel okay now, but you really are okay, and things are going to be okay. And that was such an anchoring feeling that it was very surprising to be like, it caught me off guard often. Because I would feel like, why do I feel so okay when this is not a situation where most people feel okay?
Yeah.
That was an undeniable peace in the waiting, because that was a long process.
It reminds me of 2025 for me, closing up a business and stepping into something I had no idea what I was doing. And there's a lot of it that was hard, right, for the year. But I did have the peace that this is what I was supposed to be doing. And even though I would have liked to have seen other things, but it also felt like different things were crumbling around me. And I'm kind of like, God, when are you going to act on this? And, but still, for the most part, I was really confident in what God had called me to. And there was that peace. And so as you're talking, I'm remembering that. And I'm thinking like, what was different about that versus some other things? And at first I was thinking that felt so out of my hands. Like there's nothing I could have done. So because I have no way to act, then I can leave it in God's hands because God's the only one who can do something. But if there's a chance that I can act, then that's when I'm like trying to take something on. Yeah. But even then that kind of didn't really fit well with what I was trying to get at, because there are different things I could have done. And I guess the difference there would have been like, I know that would have been disobedient for where God had called me to be and do, because I was very clear on that understanding then. So I'm just doing some processing here. As you mentioned, I'm like, oh yeah, I did have that piece too. But then why was that different? Because that was a huge thing in my life. Yeah. Still is a huge thing in my life. Still happening, guys. So,
still in process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Believe God knows this about me too, where it's like, you gotta just let me be dramatic for 5 minutes and then I'm all right, I'll get over it, and then we get to work. Yeah. But sometimes I
don't know if it's being dramatic. I think it's feel your feelings, those are valid, and then then we're gonna dig in and we're gonna do the work. Yeah.
Choose to do the work, because we do have to move forward with that. That doesn't just happen by itself. What if God isn't asking us to understand, just to stay? I think about that Chosen episode. You know what I'm talking about? It's Thomas, and he's, every time I think about that, I just start crying. Oh my gosh, it's such a powerful scene.
We think if you give me information, and if I can wrap my brain around it, if I can understand, then I'll be okay. And I don't think that's really going to bring us as much comfort as we think it will. Because in that episode, had he been able to give an answer other than the one thing that he wanted, you know what I mean? There was nothing that was actually going to satisfy in that moment.
And would we stay?
Yeah.
I would, in case anyone's wondering. I have so far up to this date. It's been a rough ride. Sometimes it's been sunshine and rainbows. It's the experience. So I like this idea of maybe trusting God's timing isn't feeling peaceful all the time. And maybe it's more noticing when we've shifted into taking over and trying to solve all these problems and figure everything out, and then just gently letting go. I think that's a more likely avenue for me to get into this whole like blind trusting, jumping in into this ball pit.
A ball pit.
Yep,
okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right. We've got spiritual bloomin' onions, spiritual ball pits. Love it.
Yeah. And I like these ideas here of you can be waiting and still growing. You can be unsure and still trusting, and you can want clarity and still stay connected. I think that's really helpful to hear, because sometimes I know that I struggle with, it's got to be one or the other. Actually, no.
I know. Why do we? Because
I don't know.
That's never how God shows up, expecting us to. Like where? Why? How are we doing this to ourselves?
I don't know where we got it from. But I enjoyed our conversation today.
Me too.
It was helpful for me. I like processing out loud sometimes. And if you're one of those people that doesn't struggle with this at all, and you want to come be a guest on an episode to tell us how to do that, by all means.
Yes, please share your wisdom.
Please message us. Until then, I guess we'll see you next time. Okay, bye. If you want to find out more information about Misfit of Creation, which is a soul food ministry, you can find me on all the socials: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also find me on Etsy if you want to get some downloadable Bible studies or devotionals, and that's misfitofcreation.etsy.com. You can also find me on Patreon if you'd like to be a monthly supporter, and using the same handle, Misfit of Creation. And I have an online Facebook community group that you can join, and you can find out about all the local events happening that I'd love for you to be a part of with me.
If you'd like more information about my coaching practice, or read some helpful blogs, or even schedule an appointment with me, you can visit blueprintheartandmind.com. And you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
But wait, there's more.
Think I get it now. I need to be myself because a copycat can only do so well. In love with everything that makes me who I am. Don't need a backup plan. I hope they understand that I'm doing better today. I got me a mission that got some fruition. You down to stay out the way. Can't seek validation from people who hating. I got my mentality straight. Shout out to God, I've been keeping the first. He been working and paving the way. And now I can guarantee you that's the way to live. Way to live. Promise that's the way to live. Way to live. Promise that's the way to live.
All right.
Cool. All right, am I starting this one?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know. Whatever.
All right.
All right. All right.
All right.
All right. Everything's gonna be all right.